Before we get into today's video, I need to say something to you directly, family. Dr. Umar Johnson has now stepped forward to defend Cheyenne Bryant.
Cheyenne Bryant, she getting a lot of backlash right now. How you feel about that, man?
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Let me speak to my sister. Let me speak to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. And yes, I'm going to call her doctor. I am. She says she is. That's enough for me. Now, let me state for the record, Art, I have a doctorate, a real one. Okay? I'm not saying nobody else don't. I'm saying what I got. I went to an American Psychological Association accredited doctoral training program. I am a doctor of psychology and clinical psychology. I will repeat. I am a doctor of psychology and clinical psychology. I am also a certified school psychologist. I also have 3 master's degrees in the field of psychology, clinical, school, and general. Now, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant has exploded into social media space. Her career has really taken off since I first learned of her around the time of my last Nick Cannon interview approximately 2 years ago. I have followed her here and there. She is a stunningly beautiful woman, and she also claims to have her doctorate in psychology. She claims that she went to Argosy University, and I'm not doubting nothing she says because I have no reason to.
And I want you to think carefully about that. Because when someone who has faced their own questions about credentials, accountability, about how they have handled the community's trust, rushes to defend someone who is being exposed, you have to ask yourself, what is really at stake for him and for them? Our community deserves better than validators who need each other's protection. So I'm telling you now, family, vet everyone, including the people defending the people. Now let's get to it. A woman with no verified degree, no license, no published research became the Black community's most trusted relationship therapist. She got on every major platform, charged real money, touched real trauma, and when the proof was demanded, she hid behind God. Today, we are going to be surgical because this is bigger than Cheyenne Bryant. This is about who we protect, who we question, and who pays the price when we get it wrong. Let me start right here because this is the foundation of everything. Cheyenne Bryant is not a therapist. She has never been licensed. Not currently, not previously, not ever. And a licensed clinical psychologist, a real one with a real doctorate, real patients, and real research, sat down and dismantled her claims one by one.
No longer practice under a license.
And why
Right now, I'm
would
in
we?
private practice, I'm saying. And
Yeah.
that's what people don't understand, right? So just to educate some folks a little bit.
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But before we dive in, I want to make something incredibly clear. Having a doctorate does not mean someone is a licensed mental health professional. You can have a doctorate in literature and be unlicensed, and you are still a doctor. You can have a doctorate in education and hold an LPC, being a licensed professional counselor, and you are a licensed mental health professional, and you are still a doctor, but your doctorate is not in psychology. When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at 2 things: what their doctorate is actually in and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that matters and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong.
Not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics. And so it just opened up a whole nother, floor in industry for me.
And she's also saying this like it's a good thing. I want to state something really important. Ethics codes exist to protect you from exploitation and boundary violation and providers practicing outside of their competence. When someone celebrates being free from ethical oversight, I want you to think of that as a red flag, a flashing one. It's a warning sign because those rules exist because real harm happens when they're not in place. So celebrating that you don't have to be accountable to that should be concerning to you.
As a therapist, two things: you can obviously make what you deserve because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there, and we're unpacking shit, and we're helping you process through things. So it's not us sitting there, well, if you're an effective therapist, saying, tell me more. You should be unpacking, and you should be able to take somebody and drive with them to their goal.
And here's another thing. She keeps calling herself a therapist, and in most states, that's actually illegal without a license. You cannot legally use the title therapist or provide psychotherapy without licensure. What she's describing now is coaching, and coaching and therapy are fundamentally different. Coaches help with goals and accountability. Therapists are trained to diagnose and treat mental health conditions, trauma and depression and suicidality and psychosis. If someone with untreated bipolar disorder or PTSD thinks they're getting therapy from a coach, they're going to be seriously harmed. These are actual conditions that go undiagnosed and untreated, especially within the Black community.
My clients, the truth is that in order to bill insurance, I have to diagnose you. And you only get about 6 weeks. In order for me to get 6 more weeks approval, guess what?
This frames diagnosis as something imposed on you solely for insurance purposes, and that's backwards. A diagnosis isn't a billing trick. It's clinically meaningful information that guides treatment. And the 6 weeks claim is also not accurate across the board.
Majority of people who know that in order to bill insurance as a therapist or a physician or a psychologist, psychiatrist, you have to diagnose. So what do they rather do? Pay out of pocket.
That's what I
And
do.
so when I realized that, I thought, well, okay, it may create a gap within our community, our Black community, who can't afford health care or afford mental health services.
I hear the concern and the access problem is real. Her solution, unregulated, unlicensed coaching, isn't the answer. And there are a wealth of licensed Black therapists, he, she, and they, Black-owned practices, sliding scale clinics, community mental health centers doing this work with their licensure intact, keeping their credentials because their clients deserve protection. The solution to healthcare access gaps isn't removing safeguards. It's expanding access to regulated care. It's providing more scholarships for people like us to get the training necessary. It's more support group. It's actually mutual aid, but it's not what she is stating.
I'm in private practice. I make much more money. It allows me to have more leverage and really be hands-on with my clients. I'm not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics.
And I want to be honest about what's really happening here because the messaging is awful to me. The pitch to potential clients is, I can give you more personalized care. The pitch to herself is, I make significantly more money and I'm not bound by any kind of oversight. And those are two entirely different things. And when your financial incentive is disconnected from professional accountability, that is a conflict of interest. However, she is not bound by anything when it comes to conflicts of interest because the only thing that she is bound by is the limits of her own ethics and morality.
Dr. Raquel Martin did not attack Cheyenne Bryant personally. She simply told the truth. She explained that a license is not just paperwork for billing insurances. It means you have completed specific education, have supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and you are accountable to a regulatory board. It means if you breach confidentiality, if you cross ethical boundaries, if you harm someone, there is somewhere to file a complaint. There is someone to answer to. Bryant has none of that. And here is what makes it worse. Bryant called herself a therapist on camera, on record, in her own words. She reposted articles calling her a marriage and family therapist to her own page without correction. And when she finally admitted she was not practicing as a therapist, she called it a business decision. Wasn't that convenient? Not a correction, not an apology, a business decision. Dr. Martin also drew a critical line that our community needs to understand more fully. Coaching and therapy are not the same thing. A coach helps with goals and accountability. A therapist is trained to diagnose and treat. What do they treat? Trauma, depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder. When someone who is genuinely struggling because they are in therapy and they are actually sitting with an unlicensed coach, they are not getting help. They are getting harmed. And that harm falls hardest on the Black community, where mental health conditions already go undiagnosed, untreated, unacknowledged, avoided at a devastating rate. Bryant celebrated being free from the ethics board. She called it freedom. Dr. Martin called it exactly what it is, a flashing red flag. Because those ethics codes exist to protect you from exploitation. When someone celebrates having no oversight, no accountability, they are telling you exactly who they are. Now, I want to give credit where credit is long overdue, because the men in this community were sounding the alarm long before the licensed professionals stepped forward. Corey Holcomb called it from the beginning.
Well, why would you call her a doctor, brother? I'm not saying your platform is fake at all. I'm just saying, when somebody say Dr. Bryant, it irks me. Where's her colleagues? Where's she a doctor at? Because I've done the research.
And it was what?
I don't see doctor nowhere. If somebody is a doctor, they will be proud to show you, I'm a doctor. She can't do it. She just says it. This is a fantasy that woman is living. I mean, like, you don't see everybody to see you, Sister Bryant. We know it's a girl you call your bodyguard, but we know it's more to it than that. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here in the streets. So I can't say what this girl is that you call in your little security sometimes, but you know what I'm saying? It's people who know y'all and they talk. So, and all this doctor stuff, I mean, come on. Where is the proof that you're a doctor? Can you just do that online instead of all of the glamour videos with all the makeup on and everything? Show us you're a doctor and how you became a doctor and how you practice being a doctor. You're just doing internet talk like everybody else, except you wanted to put doctor on your name. Prove to me you're a doctor so I can eat crow and apologize. But don't come with that little nonsense online shit. That ain't gonna work on me, I know. And all that low vibrational women stuff, you used to work at the strip club, right? I would ask her that. She's talking about low vibrational women. And even if that was a time when she's not doing that now, she talked about the things that she's done to men. and how she kicks up dust with men on purpose that so-called love her. And I never saw the end of y'all video until my girl showed me this.
Which one?
When you hit her with that 50 Cent shit and she was stuck, it was classic, but that's not promoted.
But that-
because she praised 50 Cent because there's opportunity maybe there for her. Now, this ain't no diss to 50 Cent. 50 Cent, you know, he walked up to her and as she said, he was like, you're amazing or whatever. We know how the game go, but she wouldn't say nothing bad about 50 Cent because that opportunity might not be gone yet. But when the opportunity with 50 is gone, she'll be calling him low vibrational and all that. Because I don't think she really like men. I think she like women.
He said it plainly. He did not have a medical journal. He did not have a research paper. He had eyes, and he used them. He asked questions nobody else was asking. Where is she a doctor at? Show me the proof. He got called a hater. He got dismissed. He got laughed at. And he was right, though. Then there was Paul Pierce.
No, but we need to find out about what's going on with her. She dating, single. What do that entail for a 42-year-old?
I am dating.
Dating but single.
Enjoying my life. I have really good companions.
How many are you dating right now?
I'm not exclusively committed to anyone, but I have one guy that I have dated off and on for 5 years.
Got her.
We've dated for 5 years off and on.
So you was his work for 5 years? You been his work? You still his work?
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
Paul.
I know what's going on now. I'm about to. We gonna take this sheep clothing off.
Right, the wolf teeth coming out. No, we
he
have
was somebody's work for 5 years.
We have been each other's companion for 5 years, and yeah, I have spent the block for 5 years, and it's the truth. And he doesn't like it. He's absolutely correct. He feels like I haven't provided.
Oh, your work.
We working together. Okay. We working together.
But you keeping him at bay. Or is he keeping you at bay?
He wants a relationship. He
And
wants to
you
be
don't.
committed.
You just like the sex.
No.
Oh,
Let's keep it 100. How you keep somebody for 5 years? That's like for real. You can't keep nobody at a distance for 5 years. I ain't never done no shit like that.
I am not vitamin D deficient,
No,
so everything is good in that department.
No.
He wants
kept
a
him at bay.
relationship.
She done kept him on the side until she figured out if it's something better. I see where this is going.
He just has some emotional maturity that he had to do. We're 9 years apart. He's 9 years younger than me, and so we both had to work through things. But he's had to work on his emotions and his intense insecurities around being in a relationship.
And you've been waiting on it. Like what's the problem? Why y'all not together?
Just because of that,
So you waiting on that?
No, I'm not waiting on it, and I don't have him waiting.
So the D is good.
Oh,
Let's keep it. I mean, that's it's like, dude. Let's
he
keep
put
it 100.
on his red pajamas and feel like he's supposed to get spicy tonight.
This is clear.
Oh my
I know her.
God.
She from Long Beach.
I'm
don't try to come
You
with
have a problem.
the suit jacket,
Yeah,
the
man,
boots. You still and the glow.
You know what I mean?
You still from Long Beach.
I'm still-
And I'm from Inglewood. And I can see that.
I am from San Pedro, a small
Man,
community
nah,
in the
same
city of
thing.
Los Angeles.
I can see
Okay.
through all of that.
Yes, he has great qualities.
Mm-hmm.
He does well in all that he does with me. He just
That ain't
emotionally
what I asked you.
is.
I asked you about his job and all that.
He does well in all areas.
What's
Okay, she
going on?
answered that. He
No,
does
she
well
did.
in all areas.
Emotionally,
Well, I don't know. That's a broad question. What all
Paul,
areas?
you're
what?
a man, so you answer this question.
I answered.
Emotionally, he goes back and forth from I love you, I want to be with you, I'm mad because you won't be with me, you won't commit to me. And then his insecurities get the best of him, and it's like, I want you, but I'm not sure if I deserve you, I'm not sure that I can facilitate you, I'm not sure that I can be with you. So when I say emotionally instability, it's like him wanting to be with me is concrete. That's not unstable. His emotions in the relationship are just unstable to where as a man, you gotta get vertical within yourself before you can be in a
Doc, you
relationship.
good with these
And
words.
I am.
You good with these words.
Listen,
because
but
you
let me
giving
say
all
this.
these people advice.
Let me say
But
this,
why-
Paul.
this
He has every right to feel like what I've been doing as far as being in a relationship with him when I want to and not is not something that gives him stability. However, I don't want to commit to a relationship with a man who I feel emotionally is not in a place of being able to be in a healthy relationship.
So why you messing with him? Why are you playing mental games with him?
I'm not playing mental
That's
games with
mental
him.
games.
It's not mental games.
Why
It's
you
all
still-
transparency.
Why is it still sex involved?
How do you know we sexing? We could just be having a
Because you from Long Beach, I know.
Paul Pierce did not just question her credentials. He exposed something deeper. He asked the questions about her personal life that she had been using to hold everyone else accountable. And what happened? She could not answer. She stuttered. She deflected. She who had sat across from Cam Newton and Nick Cannon and held them accountable for their relationship choices could not account for her own. She was advising women on what they deserve from men. She was holding Black fathers accountable for broken homes, while she herself had never been married, had no children, and could not clearly account for the state of her own personal life. You cannot hold a mirror up to everyone else while refusing to look into one yourself. That is not counseling. That is performance. And Paul Pierce, a man she likely thought was a soft target for her smooth words, exposed the performance. Here's what I want every woman watching to hear. The men who were dismissed as haters were not hating. They were paying attention. And in our community, we need to stop penalizing discernment just because it comes in a voice we did not expect. Now, here is the part that is the hardest to say and the most necessary. The women who defended her were the same women she was exploiting. And they defended her not because she was qualified, but because she was saying what they wanted to hear. She was checking them in. She was validating the pain, the victimhoodness. She was confirming the narrative. And as long as she kept doing that, nobody asked for a diploma. Nobody demanded a license number. Nobody questioned anything because the message felt good. And feeling good is a powerful substitute for discernment. And she understood that. And she used it to her advantage. She built an entire platform on the willingness of women to overlook fraud as long as the fraud was flattering them. But here is where the story takes a turn. Because the moment her advice shifted, the moment accountability entered the room, trying to apply it to women, the moment she said something women did not want to hear, that same sisterhood turned on her.
So I then posted the receipts of her actually presenting herself as a therapist. This is something that is posted on her highlights right now, where she posted an article written by someone at NBC where they referred to her as a marriage and family therapist. This is posted on her page. When I showed this to the woman on Threads, her response was this, essentially saying that that's an article saying that she was a therapist. That's not her saying that she's a therapist. If she reposted an article that was written by her calling her a therapist, that is her intentionally spreading misinformation. And when it comes to these small publications, everyone knows that you can write in or pay to have an article written about you. And even if that wasn't the case with this particular article, they did not just claim that she was a marriage and family therapist out of nowhere. They got that information from her. I also mentioned the fact that there is a video out there where, while telling a story of a past client, she said these words.
It's so proud. It was like my first year being a therapist.
The girl was still going back and forth with me, debating on whether a license is needed to practice in the mental health field. I just don't understand why so many people think that this is okay. If there was a person pretending to be a medical doctor, doing surgeries, seeing patients, treating patients, but did not have a license or the degree required to be a medical doctor, I feel like people will understand a little bit more. There is no way that anyone would allow a surgeon to perform surgery on them or anybody they love if the surgeon said that they're not licensed and licensing is not important. And let's just call a thing a thing. The only reason why y'all are defending her, the only reason why y'all are arguing back and forth online with actual professional therapists, with people who have earned not only the degrees, but the license to practice therapy, is because of how she looks.
People listen to her because she's pretty. People listen to her because she's pretty, and there is a privilege in that. Additionally, there's also an accountability with that, of which she will not ever have.
The very women who defended her became the ones who exposed her. The very women who called critics haters became the ones pulling up the receipts. The very women who said credentials do not matter suddenly wanted to know exactly where she got her degree. And that tells you everything. That is the dual sword of the sister code. It protects you when you're telling women what they want to hear. And it cuts you down the moment you stop. That is not solidarity, ladies. That is conditional loyalty, and we are receiving it to our detriment. That conditional loyalty is built on validation, not truth. Black women have felt let down, overlooked, dismissed, and that pain is real. But that pain cannot become a door that anyone with the right message and the right look can walk through unchecked. Because protection without accountability is not solidarity. It is silence dressed up as support, ladies. It's a pretense. It's a mask. And silence in the face of deception always costs someone something. Real sisterhood tells the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Real sisterhood says, I see what you're doing, and it is hurting the very people you claim to serve. And while she was collecting the trust of those women, the licensed Black therapists were being passed over. The ones with the real degrees, the ones doing the real work, the ones seeing real patients in real communities were not getting the bookings, were not being placed or invited to these various platforms because she was occupying that space with the title she cannot prove. That is not representation, that's displacement. She was displacing those qualified individuals. Now I need to talk about something that does not get discussed enough. And it is the message that her behavior sends to young women who are watching. Because they are watching, every single one of them. And what they saw on that panel show with former MTV journalist Torre was deeply troubling.
If gentle parenting creates gentle children, sign me up. I definitely want to create more gentle adults, especially men. Hold on, Ariba, especially men.
You are
My
a gentle.
God,
You
are
are
you kidding?
a very, very.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys.
You're very
That's what we
gentle as a
need
man.
in the world is more gentle men who understand.
Ray, you're very gentle,
and it comes
I know, but
at an
I
angle
know,
that
but
doesn't always work for people.
let's just stop.
So,
Let's just stop. Let's just stop.
Yeah.
Let's just stop. Let's just stop and go back because I'm wrapping the show and you're interrupting me.
first of all,
This is what we spent a whole meeting on this.
first of all,
last
Teray,
week.
first of
I'm wrapping
all,
the show.
Teray,
Why don't
first
you
of
let me
all,
wrap the show? I'm
Teray,
ending the show.
First of
What
all,
is the point of
Teray,
interrupting me?
first of all,
We're getting out of
first of all,
here.
Teray,
Like, what is the point?
Teray,
What is the point? It says
lower
go to
your
host
fucking
up.
voice when
And
you're
even
talking to
still,
me.
you're arguing
Lower
with
your
me.
fucking voice when you're talking to
what
me
the fuck?
because you're
Like, can
acting
we
very,
finish the
very
show?
gentle,
We're
very
ending the
soft, and
show.
very feminine. And
The
this is
show
the
is
problem.
over.
Teray, you talk
What
to
are
your
you
wife
doing?
like that. You don't talk to
It
me
says
like
in
that.
the
I
script.
am not
Let
your
him
wife.
finish.
You don't talk to
Why
me
does it
like
need to
that.
stay in
I'm
the
not
script?
your wife,
Let him
gentle.
finish.
I'm not your
Like, what
wife,
the fuck?
softy. Don't
What are
talk
we
to me like
doing?
that. You talk
What are
to
we
your
doing?
talk to your wife
Let
like
me
that,
finish the
not
show.
me. Teray,
This is
talk
not
to your wife
professional.
like that. Do not talk
This
to me
is
like
not
that.
professional.
That is
Like, what
not
the
how.
fuck?
That is not how you
Can we finish
That is not how you professionally approach me. Don't fucking talk to me like that.
Torre made a claim, measured, professional comment. His voice was not raised. He was not aggressive. He was not disrespectful. He was simply doing his job. And Bryant, the woman who built her brand on emotional health, on how men should treat women, on what respectful communication looks like, completely lost it. She told him to lower his voice that was not raised. She called him soft. She called him feminine. She brought his wife into it. She cursed at him on camera in a professional setting. Now I want you to think about what that teaches. Because young women were watching that, and here is what they learned. When a man speaks to you calmly, call it weakness. When a man is gentle, call it feminine. When a man tries to reason with you, overpower him. That's the lesson. And it is a dangerous one. Because the calm, measured gentleman that Bryant attacked is exactly the kind of man that most women say they're looking for. But she modeled something different. She modeled that a man who does not match your aggression is less than a man. And that is a lie. A destructive, harmful lie. Here is what I know to be true about women who lead with masculine, combative, dominating energy. When they cannot control the narrative, they attack the man. When they cannot win the argument, they question the man's strength. When they feel exposed, they reach for the most effective weapon available. And they aim at his manhood. She called Torre soft. She called him feminine. And that is because she was losing. And that is a pattern that our young women are watching and internalizing and repeating. We have a responsibility to show them something different, to show them that strength does not require aggression, that confidence does not require volume, that a real woman, now let's talk about real women, we're always putting the quotation marks about a real man, that a real woman who is secure in who she is does not need to tear a man down to feel powerful. And that brings me to the final point, the one that grieves me the most. There are serious documented questions about whether Bryant's personal life aligns with the council. She has been selling to heterosexual women for years. I am not here to make unverified allegations. That is not what this channel does. But I am here to speak to a principle that is non-negotiable. If you're going to position yourself as a voice of authority on heterosexual relationships, on what Black men owe Black women, on what God designed for families, then the life you are living must have some alignment too with the counsel you are giving. You cannot speak into a design that you are not submitting yourself to. That's not judgment. That's integrity. And then when the question comes, when the accountability arrives, she reaches for God. Does she really know him? Does she not know what he requires? He requires holiness. He requires integrity. He requires humility. He requires a spirit of humility, not arrogance, not vulgarity. But she reaches for a God. I'm not saying the God, the Most High God. She reaches for God talk, God language, and says, my obedience is to God, not to people. What God, sister? My sheep will know my voice. They weren't talking about you being no shepherd, because you're not. That is not my battle. That's his. That's what God said to his people that followed and obeyed him, that the battle is not theirs, is his. You're not aligned with him. You can't expect his covering and protection. These are not answers to a credential question. These are deflections wrapped in scripture. And I need to say this clearly because I am truly a woman of faith. And I will not allow the language of faith to be used as a curtain behind which fraud hides. The God she is invoking, if it's the Most High God, requires integrity. He requires truth. He requires that we follow the rules and conduct ourselves with honesty in every space we occupy. A genuine calling from God does not require you to lie about who you are to fulfill it. If God called you to help people, Cheyenne Bryant, you can help people as Cheyenne Bryant, not as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, just as yourself. Be yourself with whatever gifts and real experience you actually have. But the moment you use his name to deflect accountability for your own deception, that is not faith. That is manipulation. And our community, a deeply spiritual community, is particularly vulnerable to this because we are conditioned to respect those who invoke God, because we do not want to appear to be coming up against someone who is anointed. But the scripture is clear. You will know them by their fruit. Fruit is not a book deal. Fruit is not a celebrity client list. Fruit is not a social media following family. Fruit is what happens to people who trust you with their pain. And when those people are now seeking refunds from your publisher, that is the fruit. Grace is real, but grace is not a license to deceive. And God's name is not a shield for fraud. If this video said what needed to be said, like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And leave a thoughtful comment below. I want to know what you think. All the clips referenced in this video are linked in the description. Go watch them for yourself. Use your discernment. Protecting our community means telling the truth when it is uncomfortable, even when the person looks like us, even when they speak our language, even when they invoke our God. Because real correction is an act of love in action. And accountability is how we protect what matters most, which is our families, our community, our truth. I am Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. Thank you so much for watching. May God richly bless you. And I want to leave you with this scripture because this is a caution. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Check the fruits, family. You will know them by their fruits. Matthew 7, verses 15 through 16. May God continue to richly bless you.